Chapter 1. Prelude to War. In the summer of 1914, the world was on the brink of war. Tensions in Europe had reached a breaking point, and the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary in Sarajevo triggered the beginning of World War I. Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia, and a complex web of alliances drew other nations into the conflict. The stage was set for a conflict of unprecedented scale. Chapter 2. The Eastern Front. The Eastern Front of World War I was marked by a series of clashes between the Central Powers, led by Germany and Austria-Hungary, and the Allies, primarily Russia. In this theater of the war, Przemysl, a strategic fortress city in Galicia, became a critical focal point. Its location near the Russian border made it a highly desirable objective for the Russian army. Chapter 3. The siege begins. The Russian forces, led by General Radko Dmitriev, arrived at Przemysl in late September 1914. They wasted no time in surrounding the city and initiating the siege. The Austro-Hungarian defenders, under the command of General Hermann Kuzmanek, recognized the importance of Przemysl and began a robust defense. They fortified the city's defenses and prepared for what would turn into a long and grueling siege. Chapter 4. The Desperate Defense. As autumn turned into a harsh winter, the Siege of Przemysl evolved into a brutal and protracted battle. Both sides endured freezing temperatures, shortages of supplies, and heavy casualties. The Austro-Hungarian defenders displayed remarkable resilience, clinging to the city and its fortifications against the relentless Russian onslaught. They faced not only the constant threat of enemy attack, but also the debilitating effects of cold, hunger, and disease. Chapter 5. Attempts at relief. Austro-Hungarian forces outside Przemysl recognized the desperate situation within the city. They launched multiple relief offensives to break the siege. However, these efforts faced stiff resistance from the well-prepared Russian forces. The defenders' comrades outside the city were unable to reach them, leading to a sense of isolation and desperation among those trapped within Przemysl. Chapter 6. Suffering and Stalemate. As the siege continued into 1915, both sides experienced tremendous suffering. Inside Przemysl, civilians and soldiers alike were plagued by hunger and disease. Outside the city, the Russian army encountered logistical challenges and its own share of supply shortages. The siege reached a state of near stalemate, as both sides struggled to gain a decisive advantage. Chapter 7. The Fall of Przemysl. By March 1915, the situation in Przemysl had become untenable. The defenders were exhausted, and their supplies were nearly depleted. On March 22nd, the Russians launched a final ferocious assault. The Austro-Hungarian garrison, despite their heroic resistance, could no longer hold out. Przemysl fell to the Russian forces, marking a significant victory. Chapter 8. Aftermath. The Siege of Przemysl had lasted for almost 150 days, making it one of the longest and most brutal sieges in World War I. The Austro-Hungarian army had suffered heavy losses, and the city itself was left in ruins. The Russian victory at Przemysl, however, did not significantly alter the overall course of the war, as the conflict continued to rage on multiple fronts, and the suffering endured by soldiers and civilians alike persisted. The Siege of Przemysl serves as a poignant reminder of the immense human toll and the hardships faced by those on the front lines of one of the deadliest conflicts in history. It underscores the indomitable spirit and courage of the soldiers on both sides, who endured unimaginable hardships during this prolonged and grueling siege.